Whole world go insane. See the lighters hit the rocks in the bushes like the stars are coming
What's
down
up,
like
Harvey?
rain. Here she comes, just
Hold on, I want to play All Hail, and we'll put it at the start of the stream. That way that if it becomes a problem, I can just cut it out after the stream. But welcome everybody. Today we celebrate a year of streaming here. Oh my god. Here on the RedDeathMask channel. And I can think of no better way to celebrate, to commemorate, to have fun than diving back into Mr. Americana. Part 42 is going to be the part that we're starting with today. But it's a great horror series written by Harvey Bruce, friend of the show. He's in the chat. And yeah, it's really just an amazing story. I think, you know, I could summarize and talk about the parts, but I think I'll summarize as needed while reading. But it's an amazing story, sort of like an anthology in that it bounces around from different, perspectives. It's a continuous story, but it bounces around both in time and different characters and stuff. And there's some characters that you're not sure if they're gonna play a bigger role in the story or if they're kind of just like a one-off. But it's a really amazing series and one of my favorites. So that's how we're gonna commemorate. A year of reading horror, online horror stories, or just horror stories in general, written by CREEPCAST fans and just people on the internet alike who are trying to create some cool shit, and trying to get better at writing. And I think that's admirable, and I think we can have fun here today by commemorating it. So that's what we're here to do. Let's listen to All Hail. This is a song that I feel, it's something that I've showed Harvey, but I feel like it really encapsulates some of the, ethos behind the Mr. Americana series. And you'll see, but let's listen to it. I'm going to get my headphones though, so that I can actually hear it good. Harold Sleeper, shout out Harold. Everybody, make sure to go follow or subscribe to Harold's channel. He's been reading some of his own stories, but also a lot of other people's stories, and he's been making cool videos too, with like cool artwork and stuff. So go check him out. It's just I believe it's just Harold Sleeper on YouTube. I can pull it up here in a second, but
come on.
Nope. Hold on. Okay, that Bluetooth's off. That Bluetooth is off too. And yes, I could have done this before I went live, but I decided to do it spur of the moment. God damn it. There we go. Now it says everything's connected, which is usually the first step to getting one thing to connect. Oh my God. It was already loaded. Either my computer's about to crash or I don't know. We'll see.
Come on down to where them.
Fuck. Alright, we're just gonna play it here and then I'll just mute my mic. Connected mic audio. Okay.
Cross High Street, you gonna watch
There
the
we
whole
go.
world.
It's gonna sound fucked
Come
up for a
on down
second.
to where them tracks cross High Street, you
You're
gonna
gonna
watch the whole world go insane. See the lighters hit the rocks in the bushes like the stars coming down like rain. Here she comes, just a skin and bone skeleton. She's food for the crack cocaine.
She got a baby living right outside the city, man. She don't even remember his name.
Well, his name is Adolf Hitler, Albert Einstein, Jesse James. Oh hell to the greatest of sales. Everything inside's got to be sold. Oh hell, else to work or to jail. Man, they're close.
that is all hell. But let me turn my mic back up. That is just a taste in my own way of what this series is about. Now, it is also a song that gets me pumped up, and I love it. I listen to it while I'm at work. I listen to it in the car. It's just a great song. But it also to me evokes sort of the upbeat but also and funny nature of this series, but also the kind of like melancholy and doomed nature of the characters in it as well. It's not a hopeless story. What we've read from Mr. Americana, it is parts are very bleak, but it's also very funny. And it seems to be able to, at least for me, make me both like profoundly disgusted and whatever, just sickened by like American culture and just culture in general, but also like proud and kind of in awe of certain things as well, or these things actually in contrast to one another, the fact that both these things kind of exist at once. And I think that's where the horror comes from in this series, is the ability to kind of juxtapose these two seemingly incongruent truths, but they are true. And I know it sounds like I'm just kind of rambling right now, but that's why we're going to get into the story, because when you start to read the story and you start to see how the parts connect and you see the story unfolding in real time and why like a character like Laura, for instance, is the way that she is, it suddenly becomes, it clicks. It the way that an LSD trip makes your life all click into place and makes it seem like, oh my God, everything's happened for a reason. Everything is, all these little coincidences have amounted to something, truly, serendipitous and memorable and blah blah blah. It you get that sense with this series. You see how the dots either aren't connecting or have connected for some people to make them the way that they are, and then how that's affecting how they're going about their life now or what they're up to. So yeah, we see it with here. Probably pull up my notes from the last time. Yeah, so Evan and Laura, who are the two kind of main, you could say, like tragic love story at the beginning, or not at the beginning, but at the center of this story, and how they were in love in high school, how they were, kind of best friends, but also dating, and then how all of a sudden Laura just seemed to completely go insane. And we can get into why that is as the series goes on, but Evan, I feel like he could put the pieces together if he really wanted to, but he just hasn't quite done it yet. And I don't know if that's because he's in denial or what. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. She went insane, and now she sees camera heads everywhere. And anytime she sees a camera, whether that be like just a picture camera or a video camera, she sees it as these evil beings that have camera heads that are hunting her essentially, and that's the main kind of crux of her psychosis, delusion, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there's so many other parts and so many other characters and stuff that we just got to get into it. We just got to start reading. So here, I'm gonna Harold Sleeper says, thanks, man. Yeah, it's just Harold Sleeper. I've been told there's some the same. Clicking on any videos. Love the music like this. Hell yeah, banger song for a hell of a banger series. Yeah. Now we got the Mr. Americana TV adaptation montage music. Exactly. That's the way that I picture different scenes from this series. Like when he says in the song All Hail, when he says like, here she comes, just a skin and bone skeleton, she's food for the crack cocaine. I kind of picture the prostitute Darla getting her nice coat, and she's wearing this really nice coat that Nathan got her, even though she's like all skinny and probably looks down on her luck or whatever else. I don't fully remember if he's like a addict, but I think it just kind of makes that image flash through my head. And then the same with the line about whatever television, or television is always on, stuff like that. Because Laura, she's afraid of not only TVs, but she sees either God or the devil in everything, and she has her own certain words for that. She calls, I think, God like Jesus for the most part, and then she calls it like the Martian Antichrist. And the camera heads are the minions, so to speak, of the Martian Antichrist. And so yeah, it's a very it's a cool song, but also for me it really does like walk hand in hand with this series in my mind. And when I think about, if you were going to make a trailer for this series, like if it was a TV show, for instance, like that song would be perfect, with just all the different characters flashing and people getting kidnapped, and people breaking out of Laura breaking out of mental hospitals and catching cabs to different places, and Evan watching as somebody gets their head blown off on a reality TV show, which is kind of the beginning of the series. Where it starts is he's a producer in charge of this like redneck trailer park TV show, something like that, where it's and yeah, one of the contestants, whatever, one of the reality TV stars kills another one. I don't know if it's on live TV, but it is just like captured by the cameras, and it's kind of this crazy moment that the series starts with. So yeah, anyways, let's get into the story. No more stalling, no more delaying. Let's get into it. Mr. Americana, part 42. You wipe the sweat off your brow and fumble with a bag of trail mix in the break room. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Yeah, maybe shots of strange images, company and brand logos, decrepit American city sites, and a body through the eyes of a camera. Yeah, exactly. exactly all those things you could add to the montage, and it would be very, very accurate. Um, you wipe the sweat off your brow and fumble with a bag of trail mix in the break room. The street the street lamps beam orange light through the small windows along the top of the wall, glittering through the rays. Mr. Corey sits with his shoes on his desk and a squeaky metal fan blowing on his face, reading an owner's manual on a new forklift they bought for the shop. Mr. Corey is nice to you, most of the time anyway. You like him because when you mess something up, he shows you how to do it right instead of yelling at you like Jeremy. Jeremy is nice too, but sometimes he calls you names like moron and retard when he gets mad. He makes a lot of jokes. You don't always get them, but you laugh anyway. You finally get the bag open, and Mr. Corey says, "Your MIG welds are still shaky," he says. "You're getting better, but it's still shaky." "Oh, I'm sorry." "Nothing to be sorry for," he replies. "Just keep working on it, bud." The door opens, and Jeremy steps inside. Owen comes in behind him, and he's snickering to himself about something. He always laughs. He always laughs, even when no one else does. Jeremy starts talking to Mr. Corey about new equipment, while Owen sits down and sets his feet on the table. You eat a handful of trail mix, and Owen chuckles. "You like that trail mix, Nathan?" "Oh, this is Nathan. This is Nathan. Is the one who bought the coat for Darla." "Oh my God." Okay, because I was thinking that this character seems to be, developmentally maybe a little bit like slow. Like he says he doesn't get all the jokes and stuff. I wasn't sure who it was now, but now this makes a ton of sense. So Nathan was a man who would visit the escort Darla, and he loves Darla. He never sleeps with her. He just spends time with her because he's, I believe, like autistic, or maybe has Down syndrome or something. And so he just wants companionship, right? And we got a story kind of from Darla's perspective about how sweet he is, and about how he uh just wants to talk and wants to hear about her life, and wants to always buys her things, and always tips her, pays for her time, but then tips her like a lot of money, or way more than she would get normally. And you know how Nathan's like her one good customer, like this one shining light of like hope, or just like kindness in a really hard and awful world. And it's this kind of beautiful moment in an otherwise really bleak series. And then, as we come to find out later, something really horrible happens to Darla. And yeah, I don't want to like fully spoil it, because we might be getting into that in this part. But yeah, it's important to know that, I think, in the context of even this part right now, and Owen making jokes to him and shit. It's like Owen thinks he's so fucking funny, but already, like, the fact that you're calling somebody who's developmentally maybe not all there, like retard and stuff like that. I mean, obviously that's just horrible. Like, what a horrible person. I agree that maybe in Nathan's mind, he's maybe not the worst person, because he's sometimes nice to him, and uh he teaches him things or whatever. But yeah, I mean, from the outside perspective, I think we can agree that Mr. Corey sounds like an alright guy, but Owen sounds like pretty much a piece of shit, you know? um, you eat a handful of trail mix and Owen chuckles. You like that trail mix, Nathan? Yeah, you reply. It's bold flavor. You pour some more in your mouth. If you ate pushy as passionately as you eat that, you'd be married with kids by now, Owen laughs. You laugh with him. Jeremy sits down next to Owen and slides a piece of scrap paper across the table. You pick it up and read the number. This cute girl in the lobby asked me to give this to you, Jeremy says. She said she thought you were the cutest guy she'd ever seen. Owen snickers and Jeremy jabs him with his elbow. You dial the number into your phone and wait. Oh, and then these lines. I know they're maybe kind of hard to see on my computer screen, but these lines indicate a passage of time, a time jump. Sometimes it can be years. Sometimes you're moving back in time. Sometimes you're moving forward in time. But that's what these lines indicate in the series. And it really kind of works well. I know it might seem kind of disjointed if you're just getting into the series or whatever, but once you get used to it, you really Harvey is very good, and I know he's in the chat, but sometimes I'll talk about him like he's not watching. Harvey is very good about helping you to figure out like who's speaking or what's going on, even though it's not always clear right away. It's always clear by the end of that specific part. And it is nice because specific parts are usually about specific characters. And if it jumps back to like Laura and Evan, for instance, that'll be in like part 33 or 43 usually, or, down the road. And so that's one thing that's so nice about the series. Like, yes, there's a lot of parts. It makes it seem really like huge and crazy, but there are that many parts because the chapters, they're basically just chapters, but they help you kind of distinguish, okay, now I'm in a different, I'm watching a different storyline, you know what I mean? Sort of a thing. I'm reading a different storyline. So you dial the number into your phone and wait as it rings. It only rings 3 times before someone picks up. Hello, she answers. Hi. Who's this? I'm Nathan. You reply. What's your name? Darla, she says. What can I do for you, Nathan? So that's interesting because we basically learned that is how Nathan met Darla. It was this kind of dumbass Owen who he works with who's like, this is sexual harassment to say. I realize like warehouse talk, shop talk, like plenty of people say, dirty jokes or whatever, but to be like, to say this and then hand a developmentally disabled guy a phone number for an escort, a call girl, and then to uh be like, she thinks you're the cutest one ever. It's like Nathan probably didn't know what he was getting into, or he probably just thought like, oh, she actually likes me, maybe. But we don't know for sure. But I think ultimately it ended up being, it kind of worked out because it's like Nathan doesn't have any delusions about what she is or what like he knows. He pays her for her time. He knows that he knows what she is, but at the same time, he just, it's worth it to him because he gets to, he gets to have a friend, he gets to have a companion, um you're just about to fall asleep when you hear him crying. You open your eyes and look to the next bed over. The silhouette of Nathan's back heaves up and down against the soft light of the window. Hey, sweetheart, you whisper. You okay? So now this is from Darla's perspective, obviously. He shakes his head, his face pressed into the pillow. You slide out of bed and drag your pillow with you. What's wrong, darling? You ask as you bury yourself under his covers and stick the pillow between you. You're my only friend, he whimpers. You lay there with him and listen to the sound of sirens in the distance, trying to find the right words to say. Well, you're my only friend too, you say. Nothing wrong with that, right? He sniffles. I had a nightmare last night, he mumbles. You were getting chased by a big dog. Tried to get away, but he turned into a man and got you. He made you disappear. Oh, darling, you reply, no one's gonna make me disappear. You know why? He shakes his head and you say, watch this. You roll out of bed and slip on your boots. You make sure his eyes are on you when you dive backward onto the floor. Reach into your boot and pull out the derringer, pointing it upward at an imaginary assailant. You smile as you climb to your feet. No one's getting me, you say. No dog, no man, nothing in between. Okay, so this, you notice how I mentioned we think something really bad happens to Darla. I don't know if she for sure, I can't remember if she for sure got like taken or whatever else, but this certainly gives me a little bit of hope. I don't have any. I think there's a very good chance that this story ends tragically for Darla, but I at least like that she, has a means to defend herself. That makes me happy. He's less like a lamb to the slaughter. All right, part 43. So just from this first line I read, I think this is Laura again, and she believes that is it dead rock stars um haunt guitars, or they get reincarnated as guitars. Um and so she's thought, or she's at least said to maybe Evan, that Kurt Cobain, what she called her guitar Kurt first of all, but then she was like, oh, he lives in my guitar, or he is my guitar. So now we have this line: you didn't mind when Kurt Cobain first moved in and crashed in your guitar, but sometimes he can really bring the mood down. The whole time you've been talking to Hobo Jim, Kurt's been sitting in the corner of the garden in his Daniel Johnson t-shirt, smoking one of your cigarettes and picking at his fingers. He's been rushing you all day 'cause there's a freight train you have to hop tonight. You get it. You can smell them too, getting closer, but you want to say goodbye first. So you're running again? Jim asks. You nod. I've been seeing the wrong numbers, you say. I see them all the time now. Someone's trying to warn me. Ah, he mutters, your numbers. The wind blows and you bundle yourself into your thin red fleece. Kurt doesn't react. Where do you think this ends? Jim asks. You shrug and pretend you don't know the answer. Well, he says, you got time for one more song? Uh, I don't need my headphones. No music. 12 years since first contacts. 11 years since the intergalactic emulsion blast. 9 since you left Virginia. You sit in a boxcar transporting pulp to use for paper manufacturing. Boxes stacked on boxes filled with the moist conglomeration of wood and recycled paper that someday will form newspaper pages and magazine covers, printed with tabloids and factoids about celebrity gossip, sex scandals, and new dieting programs, sexual chaos in printed form. Kurt lounges across the top of the stack, smoking a cigarette, as if the whole car isn't packed with flammable paper and cardboard. The wheels click against the track. The wheels click against the tracks out in the darkness. Tick, 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 click. Tick, 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 click. Which that's something that we got in the last few parts. Maybe it was part 40. It was something about how she's like that every like 9th click and 11th click of like the clock sounds different or something like that. She was saying to Evan, I don't know if that's just part of her numbers and her psychosis or her thing where she's picking up things that aren't there, but it seems to mean something, at least to Laura. So maybe those two numbers mean something, if it's like 9/11, or I don't know exactly what it is. But the DRCA 545 mixed freight line departed from the recycling plant in Richmond 5 hours ago, bound for a paper mill outside a small town in southern Virginia, the same town you left when you were 18. In about 2 miles, the train will engage its brakes and begin a gradual stop, in which you will grab your bag and your guitar, open the door, and jump out. You'll hit the ground running and make for the trees, and you'll keep running until you see the street lights of the abandoned shopping mall through the branches. You'll make it to the bus station 2 blocks down and sleep there until the 8 o'clock shuttle arrives and takes you downtown to the visitor center. You'll play cover songs for tips until you make enough money to buy lunch. You'll look for Jim. You'll search the courtyard and the bridge on the edge of town and the library steps, but you won't find him. Around 5:30, you'll make your way to the church where they host community dinners for homeless, but he won't be there either. You'll ask the old woman who works there if she's seen him, and she'll tell you he died of a heart attack last week, and his daughter will be holding a funeral for him tomorrow from 9 to 11. Kurt tells you all this, but you don't believe him. Tick, 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 click. The brakes engage. So again, it's that 911 number that came up again, which is also 911. I don't know how that's gonna play out. Maybe that was just the time of his funeral and that's why she was seeing it, but we'll see. Jim's body lies in the casket, his arms folded over his chest. His daughter, Deborah. Oh, Darla is the prostitute. Okay. His daughter, Deborah, stands at the podium beside the coffin, her eyes red and her lips pursed to bite back tears. "We buried my mother 2 years ago," she says. "When she was alive, she used to say she would visit us from heaven as a bird. The day we buried her, a crow landed on her tombstone, and my father said, "Hi, Marge." He was a mess. His dementia was already setting in, but I think her death was the final blow. He was never the same after that. Couldn't even remember his own name. But he never forgot the color of her eyes. Green. She had green eyes. You adjust the tinfoil on your head, and it makes a loud crinkling noise. The woman 2 seats ahead turns around and gives you a weird look. Well, anyway, Deborah continues, this morning I woke up and there were 2 crows on my window. You take a sip of the complimentary coffee, 7 sugars, no cream, and think to yourself that Jim would laugh if he knew they held his funeral in a church. I read my Bible too much to march on in there every Sunday, he used to say. As far as I know, there ain't a verse in that book that says God is a cheap hooker you can hire with a $5 tithe. But just like a pimp, God does the work and the priest gets the cash. He used to say that the Roman Empire never died. They just built churches. He used to say they turned faith into a brand and Jesus into a mascot, and that the symbol of the cross is nothing more than an electric chair that memorializes Judas more than Christ. The interesting perspective. I like that a lot. That's fucking awesome. See what I mean? That like, there's so many great little, whether it's from Laura, whether it's from, Hobo Jim or all these people. It's like there's so many little great, like, ruminations about society and aspects of it and how everything is a brand and is selling you something, and it's the capitalism of just hope and fear, and how it's like, they'll take the most sacred things and make them totally commodify and, just pimp them out like it says in, like Jim saying in this, with the Roman Empire never died, they just built churches. Deborah kisses the cross on her necklace and breaks into tears. God help me, she says. A few of her family members come up to the altar and wrap their arms around her. As they walk her back to her seat, the minister approaches the podium and begins a short sermon. You feel a tap on your shoulder. When you turn, you see a man sitting behind you. He glares at you and leans in close. I don't know who you are, but you need to leave, he hisses. I don't care if you're crazy or if you just think this is funny. You're not going to make a spectacle of my father-in-law's funeral. Yeah, Harold says the corporatization of human substance. Exactly. You want to argue, you want to yell at him and tell him you have as much right to be here as anyone else. But then you see the second man, the one sitting 2 rows behind him, the one with a camera for a face. Evan is talking to a horse. He's sitting on the subway, and this horse is just standing in the aisle between the seats, staring at him. There's a camera in his lap next to a rusty handsaw. Evan asks for a phone number. You can't hear what the horse says, but Evan can. He makes this strange expression. At first, you think it's fear, but no, it's curiosity. He sees you watching through the glass and gives you this awkward wave. The way he did when you made eye contact in the halls at school or on set with Henry. Then he balls up his fists and holds them in the air. He holds up 9 fingers, then 1, then 1. The subway pulls out and rushes away, leaving you alone in the terrible dark. You wake up in a puddle of water. Tents are hard to buy. Even after all this time, you haven't gotten better at picking them. The packaging is always so misleading. Fits a family of 5 if they lie back to back. Easy setup if you camp a lot. Water resistant, not waterproof. The rain patters against the fabric, and you think to yourself that you should have just spent the money on the tarp. But if you bought the tarp, you wouldn't have been able to afford the scissors and zip ties. The zip ties are to tie the 2 zipper heads together so no one can open the door from the outside. The scissors are so you can still get back out in the morning. Crawl out of the puddle and feel around for a dry spot at the upper end of the tent. Rude dude, what's up? At the upper end of the tent, Jesus told you to set your tent on the side of a hill by the highway outside of town by the bridge just down the road from the paper mill. He said that you'd be safe. The camera heads wouldn't look here. Kurt says that Jesus is a fucking moron and that no son of God would have put you in this spot in the first place. Kurt says that if they found you at the funeral, nowhere is safe. You tell him that Evan was safe. Kurt calls Evan a poser. Right? That's poser, right? Okay. Kurt calls Evan a poser. You ball yourself up in the corner where the rain has yet to leak through and light a cigarette. You take a drag and pass it to Kurt. You listen to the crickets and the rain and try to fall asleep. But all you can think of is the string of Christmas bells tied between the 2 trees out in front of the tent. The idea is that if someone tries to approach the tent in the dark, they'll kick the bells and wake you up. The problem is when the wind blows and rattles the bells ever so slightly, and every gust becomes a heart attack. Too quiet to be a man, too loud to feel safe. God, what is the horrible... So, I mean, obviously her delusions are, like, very serious, and she probably never feels safe anyways. But, like, imagine that as, like, not only being a homeless person, you know, and dealing with all that, but then you're trying to spend all this money or like, resources to keep you safe from these intergalactic beings that you believe are, like, hunting you too. So instead of just, like, buying a tent and cigarettes and the food that you need to stay alive or whatever, you're worried about finding or buying, like, Christmas bells and setting up these whatever trespasser traps and stuff to at least alert you, which probably does keep her safe from just probably helps to keep her safe from just the dangers of being, homeless, right? Or being, unhoused, as they say. So, I mean, I guess it probably does serve a real purpose outside of Laura's mind, but I just imagine like trying to, you know, trying to exist in the world as a homeless person and just how hard that would be minus the mental illness, you know what I mean? And just it adds a whole nother level of just destitution and honestly horror to it too. I mean, that's horrifying, being in a tent and being like, I need to zip tie the zippers from the inside so that nobody can get in. But it's like, it's a tent. If somebody wants to get in, they'll get in, you know what I mean? But at least it offers you a tiny bit of solace, very insane. Like in a, not insane as like she's insane, but insane as in like what a horrific reality, Kurt apologizes for being blunt and says that maybe Jesus is right. You tell him it's okay and ask if he believes in Jesus. He says that God is the Manhattan Project. Everyone thinks they know the whole thing, but each of them only has a piece. You don't like his answer, so you ask him again, but he just shrugs and says, never met a wise man. He passes you the cigarette. You finish it and put it out in the puddle. You roll back over and try to fall asleep. Then you hear it rustling, soil displaced, wet leaves pressed underfoot. You tell yourself it's just a squirrel, that it'll go away. You tell yourself that no one would look for you here, and to remember what Jesus told you, how they can't see the gears in your mind if you wear the tinfoil. The rustling moves closer. It's quiet, but it sounds heavy. You tell yourself that it's safe here, that Jesus wouldn't lie. Then the bell rings, and they're too loud. Your body freezes. Your eyes stare wide into the dark. You watch the zippers and silently pray that your makeshift lock will hold. The footsteps stop. The fabric crinkles as unseen fingers pinch the metal tab of the zipper. You wish you knew about the tinfoil trick when you were younger. Maybe Henry wouldn't have found you. Maybe you wouldn't be here right now. The zipper slides down, 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 but it doesn't open. Silence. Flash, a mechanical whine. Then it walks away. You awake the next morning still tired. It takes you a while to get up, to accept what you have to do. You spend most of the morning smoking cigarettes. Eventually, you work up the nerve to cut the zip tie and open the door. The soft morning light drifts down through the leaves and into the tent, and down onto the wet soil where a Polaroid lies at the entrance waiting for you to find. It's a picture of your tent. Evan says, see you soon. So is that written on the Polaroid? Or is that... Because now I'm thinking that she really does that. I don't know. It could all just be a delusion, but part of me does think that she really is being hunted because of what she knows in her even in her delusional state. She knows about this purveyor of like either CP or snuff video sort of stuff that she was involved in when she was a girl that she was a victim of. And that because of that, there's still just people out there who want to drive her more crazy or want to completely I mean, just kill her without killing her if they could, or maybe, you know, maybe they're just toying with her. Maybe it's part of somebody. There is somebody out there who, like the Martian Antichrist, so to speak, who's just enjoys that he's driven this girl and now woman crazy, and then just continues to kind of do that and torment her and gets off on it. And I imagine the person who would get off on that would also be the type of person that enjoys creating and distributing these snuff films sort of thing. So, and that is kind of what the Martian Antichrist slash Mr. Americana maybe is, you know. We don't know. At least not fully yet, but it just says Evan says see you soon. So very creepy. I mean, I mean this is haunting. Can we not just, I mean, yes, it's like a lot of other genres too. It's psychological, it's whatever, but this is scary. Like this whole scene of being in the tent. And I mean, it's very Weapons-esque with the part where the guy's in the tent and he's worried that the old lady's going to come through. And so he's going to stab. You know, the junkie's going to use his needles to stab the witch. And then, you know, instead, of course, it's the cop and he gets stabbed with his needles again. And he's like, you motherfucker, you know. And it's this crazy fucking thing. And then the fact that, like, there is this picture waiting for her of her tent when she opens it up and it says Evan says see you soon. That is horrific. It's written on the Polaroid. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I assumed, but not where I am, and I've got work in the morning. Hope y'all have a great weekend. You too, Harold. Thanks for stopping by, man. Let's see. It looks like maybe we got a song here.
F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald are two of them.
About F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda Fitzgerald. I'll have to watch this later. I want to continue reading the story, but I'm gonna leave it pulled up so that I can watch it later. But that's also something that if you're just tuning in, if you haven't watched my other streams about Mr. Americana, that's something that Harvey does too, is he posts, sometimes they're just simple like ads that are like for Lindor chocolate or whatever, but then other times they're these sort of you know, deep dives into different, and they connect to the story in some way, but they're to help set an ambiance or to help make clear like what kind of ad or something that the story was talking about. They give an example, and it's really cool. It's one of the multimedia elements of this story that I just love, and I really hope that not only more people read it, but that people read it and watch watch all the companion pieces with it too, because it's just really awesome. Yeah, I need to exit out of some of these, so I just don't have too many tabs open. Yeah, here I can. All of the things she does in this scene are things I did when I was homeless, like zip ties and Christmas bells. Felt like a weird, depressing sequel to Home Alone. A sequel to Home Alone just called Alone. Jesus, Harvey. Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't want to speculate too heavily, but I would that seemed like a very real world, setting up these, anti-intruder, Home Alone-esque alarm systems, stuff like that. Seems like something that not just you, but many homeless people probably do, in some way or another, whether they set something up to fall over so it makes a loud noise or whatever, just all sorts of stuff like that. That would be a killer fucking, I don't even know if you'd call it a sequel, but like a fucking, a reimagining. It's like you know, instead of a kid whose parents left him at home, it's just a kid who straight up, like gets abandoned or runs away from home, and he's just alone, and he's got to fight. He's got to fucking fight off, Joe Pesci-esque whatever burglars or people who are trying to prey on the homeless, or they're trying to track him down for one reason or another. Maybe they'd be like kidnappers in that story, but I mean that would be a fucked up reimagining, and they just call it Alone. Yeah. I'd watch that movie though. I mean, I don't know if it would be like a comedy or a drama or what it would exactly be, but I would definitely watch that. That sounds interesting as fuck, and it's just the story of a kid, or like a teenage boy, or just like a young person just trying to make it, and maybe you could have them be like they are a rich kid, or they are like their family does have money, and so the kidnappers are trying to find them because they're trying to like ransom him, back, and he's just trying to not go home but also not get captured. It's crazy. Okay, sorry. So that's part 42. Okay. All right, part 44. A singularity. 1. You shoved as many of your clothes as you could in a book bag, and now you wait in the darkness outside the rail yard with your guitar in hand. You're waiting on a tidal disruption event. You're waiting on a black hole Spitfire. You're waiting on a freight train. You're crying because Evan was supposed to go with you. He could have escaped, but he doesn't listen. He never listens. Doesn't matter. You'll make it out. You'll make it out and leave Henry and the Martian Antichrist and your mother and this whole damn city behind. You'll be free. So I think this is maybe Laura when she's a girl now, running away from home for the first time. You hide in a concrete valley beneath streets, beneath towers, beneath the sky. And instead of stars, you see the lights of 1,000 offices and apartments. The railroad cuts through it all and disappears into a dark tunnel from which the beast itself exhales. The stench of the city is strongest here, like sulfur, like black, like a bad tooth. The smell of an eternal compost heap eating itself from the beginning of time to the end. A digestive pit of acid, cigarette butts, and cosmic waste that washes over you in warm, wet gusts from its throat. You see the star, a single light poking through the black abyss of the tunnel. Ah, the train, the star. Okay, I see. I love this imagery. So good, Harvey. So it's just captivating. Every single part of this series is captivating. And like, it's not even that I don't want to glaze it too much, because I do, but it's like sometimes you think that Harvey or the writer, let's just say the writer in this situation, is being like just metaphorical, but you think that they're just like setting a scene, right? They're talking about the lights, and how there aren't any stars, and how it's all the lights of the apartments and whatever, and those are the stars. And then at the beginning, it's talking about, you're waiting for a black hole Spitfire, you're waiting on a freight train, and you think that they're just talking about all these different things to kind of set a mood, right? And because it's kind of beautiful poetry, but then you realize that, like, as it gets to the end and all this stuff, and you see the star, a single light poking out of the black abyss of the tunnel, it falters and stretches, then vanishes completely as it eclipses the black hole. Like, maybe it's talking about a light in the sky, but I also think this is talking about the train coming and it peeking out of the tunnel, and then maybe it disappearing and it peeking up again because it's like going over hills and shit. And it's so, with honestly so few words, like maybe not even 100 words for this whole part, or maybe maybe like 200. Yeah, it sets a scene. It makes us feel like the cosmic horror and the cosmic um whatever stakes of this person and this moment that they're in, but then also it just very simply describes like the train coming in the distance. It's so good. I love it. You see the star, a single light poking through the black abyss of the tunnel. It falters and stretches, then vanishes completely as it eclipses the black hole. The ground trembles as the Antichrist swallows the star and spits it out as a ring of light. Uh, I don't know that word. Accretion, disk formation. Yeah, or accretion, disk formation. I don't know. The ring fills itself, and it's even brighter than before. It grows bigger as the blast comes closer, and behind the rumble of the relativistic jet, you can hear the ticking of quantum gears. Tick, 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 click, tick, 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 click. The train exits the tunnel at a jogging pace as it blows its horn. You run alongside an empty flat car and count the bolts on the wheels. It's going slow enough to jump on, so you toss your guitar on board. It lands with a loud clang, and you can hear the strings detune. You toss the bag next, then grab hold of the ladder and hook your foot to the bottom rung. The car lurches as you start to climb, and your foot slips. For an awful weightless instant, you think that the rest of your body will go with it and be sucked beneath the wheels, but you don't regret anything because you'd still take death over turning back. Your grip holds tight, and your foot finds the ladder again, so you climb the rest of the way. You throw your body over the edge, and you're free now. You're free. The train builds momentum as you crawl over to Kurt and apologize for tossing him like that. You grab the bag and your guitar and scoot up to the anterior wall with your back against it. You stare up to the city, all those towers and billboards and grid plans and people, all just decoration. A massive cadaver wrapped in a big, pretty rug. The camera heads watch you. They stand over the walls of the valley and look down from the street level, light glinting off their lenses in the dark. The anguished, slobbering cries of the Antichrist rumble the earth and reverberate out through the tunnels beneath the city. There is nothing he can do now, and the camera heads know this. They stand there, silent and reserved as always. Some of them even wave goodbye. Over the next hour, the concrete and steel of the city disappears, replaced with clear mountain streams and evergreens. The stench of bile fades into pine, and now the violet sky that once was empty and black burns bright with the stars of infinite galaxies, spiraling and dancing together in a choreographed, entropic routine. It reminds you of a Van Gogh painting. Hobo Jim is dead, and the camera heads have found you again. Just like they found you in Washington, just like they found you in Phoenix, just like they found you in New Orleans, in Chicago, and Bangor. They're coming for Evan. You're sure of it. That's what he was telling you in that dream last night. You don't know why they waited until now. Maybe this was always the plan, to let you escape, just to corner you and drag you back in. You're not mad at me, are you? Kurt scoffs and shakes his head. He says, it's just a guitar. He just happens to live in it. Yeah, but I know we go way back, you reply. I hope you don't take it personally. He shrugs and says he gets it. But he tells you that Evan isn't who you think he is. Maybe, you reply. They'll find me eventually. I'd rather it be with him than alone in a place I don't know. Kurt tells you he hopes it works out for you. He says he'll see you again either way. You hand the guitar over to the clerk and tell him you'll take the 50. 50 plus the 80 you made busking last night is enough to get you the Amtrak ticket back to the city, back home. Say goodbye to Kurt. He quotes John Lennon. He says, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. You tell him to say hi to Jim. The clerk gives you an odd look. You take the cash and turn for the door, giving the guitar one last glance. As you step out into the street and leaves the pawn shop behind you, you think to yourself that it's an honor to stand in this terrible moment, to feel your foot cross the event horizon, to see the black hole itself in all its destructive glory, and to take another step regardless. You try to ignore how much the cut on your leg itches as you stand on the platform of the Amtrak station, waiting on a train out of the city for the last time. It's cold up here once again. You wish you had another coat. You're still wearing the red fleece you packed when you were 16. You considered switching it out for a heavier coat so many times before, but you couldn't bring yourself to do it. Evan bought it for you, and you didn't have room in the bag for two. You look down at your ticket. Train 777 departs 11:09 p.m. It's coming any minute now. The train behind you is heading north and still boarding, but you're waiting on track 1. You're going east. You're gonna try out Salt Lake City or maybe Boulder. The crowd flows around you like a school of fish, either searching for their place on the northbound train or lining up for 777. You try your best not to meet their eyes. It wasn't supposed to end this way. Jesus told you that Evan would go with you. He said that he was the key. He said that he was the key out of this place, that the city wouldn't let you leave otherwise, that you'd either leave together or die together. But the ticket has your name on it, just yours. And when you left, Evan never followed you out. No one stopped you in the street. And when you gave the lady your ticket, and when you gave the lady in the ticket booth the cash, she didn't even ask for ID. You think maybe Kurt was right about Jesus all along. Maybe he is full of shit. Ground trembles as your train approaches. The horn blares and bounces off the concrete. Car after car rushes past you in a blur of steel and glass, blowing your hair back with a gust of wind, and it all seems unreal. As the train slows to a stop, your eyes drift to the heavy vandalized support pillar on your left. Among the mass of scribbled and spray-painted chaos, one message sticks out. Say hi to Mr. Americana. The brakes on the train on track 2 hiss, and it startles you. You turn to look on impulse, and there's a flash of light. You freeze. It's up there, staring at you through that little window. Take a slow step backwards, and now you realize everyone on the platform is frozen in place. They're watching you. You hear the doors to 777 open, and you turn to make for the closest car. But now they're pouring out of your train as well, lenses zooming in and out on your face, arms and fingers jittering like a video with missing frames. You sprint in the other direction, weaving through the crowd of people who are now reaching upward, peeling the skin from their heads, revealing cameras beneath. They reach out to grab you, fingers gripping to your fleece, but you twist away and break through the horde, knocking one of them over in the process. There's a break in the masses, and now you're running free. God damn. Another just awesome scene. Black hole title disruption event animation. Well, that's fucking cool. That's sick. I don't know what it fully means or what it's about, but I know obviously it's relevant in the story, but I mean, it's just really cool to watch. All right, part 45. I'm wondering, did she knock somebody over and maybe they fell on the train tracks and now she's killed somebody? Also, I'm wondering, yeah, I mean, so I think this part is probably just a delusion, but I wonder about the picture outside of her tent, and then she had the cut on her leg, so she was leaving. This was her leaving, I guess, LA, where Evan is, but now she doesn't get on the train, so I'm like, so she's stuck in the city, and is this gonna snowball? Because I mean, she's a mentally ill person, so she's very flighty. She's left other places. She's gone to find Evan now at least once, like later in life when they're both like 30 or whatever. But then, part 40 was like the end, maybe not the end of that whole saga, but the part 40 was like where Evan finally kicks her out. He takes the guitar. He got her. He smashed it. But I mean, it was also his fault because he ended up drugging her with cocaine because he mixed up the baggies and stuff like that. So check the first part of 30 real quick. Okay. It's your last day in the city and you're going to miss it. It's a beautiful place, all lit up for Christmas with holly and a light up Santa displays mounted to every lamppost. There's a huge Christmas tree outside the station, and when you passed it, you made sure to get a picture with your Sony photo camera. Oh, okay. You got a picture of the lobby too, and the big statue of whatever president they had sitting by the entrance. A picture of the tracks, a picture of the train, and now looking through the window of the coach seat your mother brought you when you get home, you take one last picture of all the people lined up on the platform. The beam of light flickers off the window and damn near blinds you. You look down and there it is. Fucking flashes on and you swear you already flipped it off earlier. Check the picture you took, and behind a big white spot left by the reflection of the bulb off the glass, there's a woman standing in the crowd. Her eyes are wide in terror, as though she'd seen a bomb go off. You turn back to the window and search for her amongst the mess of moving bodies and luggage. But she's gone, as though she was never there. The door shut, and the train shudders. As the train gradually crawls forward, and as you watch the terminal slide out of view, you think to yourself, maybe someday you'll move here. So yeah, so that was the picture that made Laura, I guess, run. Is what we're supposed to get from that. And that's something that he set up way back in part 30. So I mean, that's awesome. It's great to have you here, Harvey, because yeah, I believed that the picture was a real thing. I believe that the picture flashing was real. We've seen that happen before where like just a tourist or somebody is taking a picture and it fucking causes her to basically do what she just did. But yeah, I guess the whole part about all the camera heads coming out of the train and like glitching out and trying to grab her, obviously I think that's mostly in her head, but I also think that I don't know, like I said, with the photo being left at her campsite when she's just camping out, I'm not too sure. This series does such a good job of pulling you into Laura's, I don't know, worldview, her psychosis, whatever you want to call it, that I know from speaking to Harvey, you know, he said like it's up to your own interpretation, you know, whatever you have to make the decision for yourself, which I understand, but I do think maybe somebody may be following her in the real world, in real life, not just in her head, and maybe fucking with her. So, yeah, that's just kind of my opinion. That's where I'm choosing to lean right now. But yeah, so good. So an amazing scene, and really cool to read it from the other side back on part 30, and now from Laura's side. Awesome. Sorry, just trying to keep my tabs not huge. Just says content warning, so we know some shit's gonna go down. I forget what it was you posted. I forget what the number was. Maybe it's this part, but you were like, you posted something on Reddit that you were like, I'm sorry for maybe it was part 45, I don't know, but you were like, I'm sorry, and it just made me go, oh shit, you know. Jesus, you scream, where are you? Your voice bounces off the walls and the street as you stumble down the sidewalk. Snow falls like ash, spiraling, like those stars you saw the night you escaped. Help me, you beg. God, please. I did what you said. He didn't listen. I'm sorry, please. You sit on the couch staring out the window into the darkness of the street. Aunt Nat was supposed to put you and your brother to bed at 7, but she fell asleep again. She was telling the story about the girl who punched her at work when she just trailed off and shut her eyes, and now you're waiting by the window for Mom to get home. Aunt Nat said she works at a nursing home. When you ask what that is, she said, it's daycare for old people. Hayden is asleep on the couch next to you. He said he was really going to stay up this time, but you knew he wouldn't because he's a baby. So now you wait alone. You don't know where Mom goes at night. She says she has a night job, but she never tells you what it is. Sometimes you get scared that one night she'll leave and that something will happen to her and she won't come back. But every night she comes home and you feel stupid because that's a baby thing to be scared of. Like being scared of the dark. Oh, fuck. Now I think we're getting Darla's kid's perspective, if I had to guess. And Aunt Nat. Because I remember Nat, I believe, was maybe the girl working at the nursing home. And Laura punched her. So we're getting crossover like this story has done from the very beginning. But I'm still, yeah. And there's still other characters that I don't know about, but you listen to Nathan snore and check the time on your alarm clock, 11:09 p.m. The second bed is empty. You would have slept in it, but Nathan had been crying last night, so now you're lying beside him with a pillow between you. He left your cash beside his wallet on the TV stand. You slip out of bed gently as to not wake him. You Grab your new coat off the hook and let the fur swallow you. Then you count the money. He gave you an extra 10, so you sneak 50 back into his wallet. The cold night air licks your face as you open the door. You give him one last look and whisper, "Good night, Nate." The last bus home leaves at 11:45, so you brace the cold and step out into the night. The door to room 117 clicks shut, like you're punching out your card, and now everything that's happened since you put Austin and Kaden to sleep goes in a little box under your bed until tomorrow night. What's up, Danny? It's only a couple of blocks from the Motel 6 to the bus stop on 5th Street. You spend most of the walk scanning the dark corners of the street for cops or any other problems that might stare back. The lampposts are all decked out with Christmas. Oh, we got a misspelling here. It's an N instead of an M. Harvey, typo right here. Decked out with Christmas decorations, holly, ribbons, little LED displays of stars, angels, and the sort. You've been wanting to take the boys to see the lights downtown, but between your day job, your night job, getting them to school, checking gifts off their Christmas lists, and even getting a reliable ride to do something like that, it's just not feasible. Your sister is watching them right now, and you're just praying she doesn't nod off and burn the house down. Shit. It's about 11:20 when you reach the bus stop. There's an ad on the side for Uptown Girls. Daniel Bram doing her best smoldering look with a glass of wine. You sit down and watch the snow. The Amtrak station is just a couple blocks down and a block to the right. The bridge cuts across 5th Street, and you can see a train leaving, crossing the viaduct and disappearing into the massive infrastructure. The sound of horns echo down the street like a choir singer in an empty cathedral. You stand there on the corner beneath the bridge, nearly every night like a priest taking confession, waiting on any married, divorced, employed, unemployed, welfare-assisted, federal salaried sinner that rolls down their window. At night, that lot might as well be your office. But in the daylight, despite all its familiarity, you regard it with no more than a passing glance, as if it were any other corner on the street. The train vanishes and the city holds its breath. Jesus, where are you? So now Darla and Laura are running into each other, and I think maybe Darla's about to be kidnapped too. I don't know. Or maybe Laura's I don't know. Anyways. Jesus, where are you? The girl's voice pierces the silence like a rock through a windshield. Your head turns towards the sound. It's coming from the same direction as the station. You can't see her, but you can hear her footsteps. She's running. Help me, God, please. I did what you said. He didn't listen. I'm sorry. Usually when you hear lunatics screaming about Jesus in the city, you look the other way and respect their right to make a spectacle. But she sounds desperate. You know it ain't safe to be out here alone. Making noise this time of night, something comes over you. Maybe it's God, or maybe it's just the Christmas spirit. But against your better judgment, you yell, "Hey, sweetheart, I just saw him." Silence. "Where?" she shrieks. "Over here. I'm at the bus stop. Just follow my voice." Footsteps get louder as the girl with the tinfoil wrapped around her head comes barreling out from around the corner across the street. Her eyes dart around and she looks looks for you. I'm right here, you yell. She turns to the sound of your voice, and when she spots you, you wish you could take it back, her wild eyes glaring at you like a stray cat cornered by a dog. Where is he? He went off to the corner store. He said he'll be right back. How do I know you're real? She asks. How do I know you're not one of them? I don't know, darling. You just gotta trust me. She looks to the bridge, then back at you, then sprints across the street. She grabs onto the new fur coat Nathan gave you, and for a second you think she's gonna attack you. But then she curls up on a bench beside you and presses her face into your sleeve. She's crying. It's okay, you say quietly. You put your arm around her. You're safe here. This city's a black hole, she mumbles. Oh, I know, sweetheart, you reply. Now it's back to taking confession. Just tell me what happened. They found me, she says, at the train station. Who? Camera heads, she mutters. Have you seen them? I might have, you reply. What do they look like? Not human, she says. I had to toss my clothes. They have my scent, and I don't know where to go, and they're everywhere. She breaks into a deep sob. It's not lost on you that you're cradling a complete stranger like she's one of your kids, but you hold her tighter anyways. Please don't let them hurt me, she says. I don't want them to hurt me again. And with only those few words, she tells you the whole story, the same story you've heard a million times. It seems like every girl in the city's got one. It's okay, baby, you murmur. No one's gonna hurt you. Not while I'm here. She's shivering. You look down and she's wearing this tattered red fleece that looks like it's hanging on by a thread. Suddenly you feel like an asshole wearing this big expensive fur coat while she's freezing her ass off. You don't know why. It's not like it's your fault she didn't dress for the weather. You know it would break Nathan's heart if he knew, but you can't wear the coat anyway. And at the end of the day, this girl could die out here. Besides, he'd understand if he knew why. You want my coat, you ask? What about you? Won't you be cold? I'm used to it, you reply as you slip it off and pass it to her. She takes off the fleece and hands it to you. You can have that if you want, she says as she wraps herself in the fur. You throw the fleece over your cardigan and wrap your arm back around her. I know who you're talking about, you say. A lot of girls seen them. They just don't like to say it out loud. The girl is quiet a while. Both watch the city transform into a snow globe. Thank you, she says. Don't mention it, you reply. She sniffles. Mom never believed me. Both stay there like that for a while. She asks when Jesus is coming back, and you tell her 11:45. Eventually, she falls asleep against you. You wonder how long she's been awake. There's a homeless shelter downtown, just a couple blocks from your place. You figure you can drop her off there, and at least she'll be warm for the night. Better than a psych ward. After 20 minutes or so, the bus arrives. As it turns around the corner and makes its way to the stop, pat her shoulder and say, Hey, wake up. The bus is here. Hop on with me. She sits up and rubs her eyes. What about Jesus? She mumbles. I thought he was going to meet us there. He's downtown. The bus will take us there, you reply as you stand up. She stares at you like you have two heads. You're lying to me, aren't you? She doesn't sound angry, not even surprised, just disappointed, like she's used to being lied to. You're not sure how to reply. She shakes her head. It's all right, she says. Thanks for the coat. The bus pulls in and stops. Darling, it's cold out here. You insist as the doors open. I can get you a warm place and a bed. Just get on the bus with me, please. She looks at the ground. After a moment, she pulls the tinfoil hat off her head and hands it to you. Take this. It'll protect you. You take it in your hand and study it. What about you? It never did me any good, she says. Maybe it'll work better for you. You don't want to leave her here, but you know she won't listen and the bus driver won't wait on you. You think of something your aunt used to tell you when you were young. Everything will be okay in the end, you say, and if it's not okay, it's not the end. You leave her there and step onto the bus. You take your seat and watch her through the window until the bus pulls away and she disappears into the dark. You stare out the window and fight the urge to fall asleep. If Caden won't stay up, then you'll carry on the torch. Okay, this is back to the kids now. I just have to say this whole part is so heartbreaking because we know that the woman in the fur coat gets kidnapped, right? We're supposed to think that is the prostitute Darla. Now we're realizing that it ends up being Laura, and yeah, it's just heartbreaking because I can't remember, and it's been so long, and this is one of the parts that irks me about taking such time off from the series is I can't remember. I think she maybe for sure gets killed, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I don't just want to say like without a doubt, but so it's super sad if this is the end to Laura's story that we're getting. I don't think it's fully going to be the end, but I think we're getting to the end here of maybe Laura's story or maybe not, but I guess my point is that bait and switch was genius, and there's a reason why this part it seems so inconsequential just reading it now, but taken with the whole story in totality, it's absolutely devastating, So yeah, but let's keep reading. You stare out the window and fight the urge to fall asleep. If Caden won't stay up, then you'll carry on the torch. You've been telling yourself that the whole thing about mom disappearing is stupid because it'll never happen. But with every minute that goes by, the fear gets bigger. You wonder why she stays out so late. You see a silhouette walking up the street, and before you can even see her face, you know it's her. You wave, and she waves back. You're already at the door by the time she opens it, and before she can get inside, you run to her and give her a hug. You stinker, she says. What are you still doing up? Laura thinks Darla's an angel. That's sweet. I do think Darla is an angel, from what I can tell. Everything we've told in the story so far, she's just a mom trying to provide for her kids. Certainly more of a saint than a sinner, despite the line of work she's in. She seems like a good person. Angel left you at the bus stop a few hours ago, and now you wander the city alone. You don't know if it's the morning or night, only that it's dark. You've been looking for Jesus. You haven't found him yet, but sometimes you can hear his voice calling your name from somewhere out in the dark. You thought you were close a few times. It always sounds like he's just down the next alley, but as soon as you turn the corner, he's gone. You want to think he's guiding you away from the camera heads, but no matter what street he takes you down or how many intersections you cross, it always leads back to the station. This time is different, you're sure of it. You made so many turns, you don't know if you're going east or west, but you're on 7th Street, and 7 is a good number. The street is mostly empty, aside from the cars parked at the curb and the occasional passing silhouette of someone stepping out for a smoke or paying off the meter. Apartments stacked atop bistros and bars climb towards the sky, all of it plastered with images and slogans of sexual chaos, from the rooftop billboards of women in bikinis lounging over cars and motorcycles to the neon outlines of strippers hanging from the sides of gentlemen's clubs, to the cigarette butts, condom wrappers, and discarded newspapers left in the street, with headlines shouting and demanding not to be ignored, only to be covered by falling snow. You're happy the angel gave you her coat. The temperatures dropped as the night's gone on, but the heavy fur has kept you warm despite it all. The perfume she sprayed on it smells nice too. You don't know why she lied to you. Maybe she didn't know better. Maybe she thought she was helping. You just hope the tinfoil keeps her safe. It's dangerous for angels this close to the black hole. And she has a light in her. And the Antichrist wants that the most. Swallow it and keep it for himself. You reach the corner of 7th and Manship, and Jesus calls again. Laura! You were hoping you could just keep going straight, but his voice is coming from your right, somewhere down ship. The railroad runs atop Manship, held by pillars of rusted metal that line either side of the street. If Jesus wants you to turn right, then it must be true. He's calling you to the station. You think of the dream you had back in Virginia of Evan on the subway, and you start to wonder if it was a subway at all. Maybe it was just a train. It all starts to click. Evan is at the station. He must have gone after you. He must have changed his mind now. Must have changed his mind, and now the camera heads have him. This is how you and Evan die together. Your legs start to move of their own volition, carrying you to the end, one shaky step at a time. You don't rush. You know they'll wait for you. That they're just as bound to the gears of fate as you are. You can hear them ticking. As you walk, you pass a bar, and from inside you hear a woman laugh. You turn and look through the window. The room is nearly empty, aside from the bartender and a couple who still sits in a booth in the back corner. You can't see the man's face, but whatever he's saying is making the girl laugh like a hyena. You wish you could have had a life like that, a life with Evan, free from the grand agenda, coffee in the morning, dinner at an Italian place down the street, 6th Street, 3 blocks to go. The closer you come to the station, the louder the ticking grows. You can only imagine what Kurt would think of this. Snow falls from either side of the bridge like confetti at a farewell party, but all you can see is the path ahead, the same path you've been walking since first contact. You decide that it's okay if you and Evan never got that life. All the wishing in the world wouldn't change the fact that path ends here. It always ended here. Click. Click. Silence. Stop in your tracks. The ticking is gone. You're standing on the corner of 5th and Manship. The station is close enough that you can see it at the end of the street. but you're frozen in place. Why did the ticking stop? Laura! His voice comes not from ahead, but from your right. He sounds close, closer than he should be. Turn and scan the quiet street for his face, but you don't see him until he calls a second time. Laura! You look up and your jaw falls slack. You take a step back and shake your head slowly, a futile denial of what stands before you. Crucified him. Jesus Christ hangs from a telephone pole on 5th Street beneath an LED Santa display, his arms outstretched and wrists nailed to a piece of plywood, his hands clenched into shaky fists. Streetlight shines down on him, illuminating, the blood dripping down from his crown of thorns and across his face and chest. Flowing tears stream down from his face as he stares down at you, wide-eyed and hysterical. He holds up 9 fingers, then one, then one. Turn to run. They're already behind you, 4 of them. Not camera heads, animals on 2 legs, a rabbit, a dog, a man, and a horse. Your hand is wrapped around the horse's face when it grabs a hold of your hand and twists it behind your back. The rabbit swings something metal into your stomach, sending a wave of nausea running through your body. You break free of the horse's grip and try to run, but you only make it a couple steps before you feel a searing pain in the back of your head and everything goes dark. And everything goes dark. Evan sits on the subway. The horse, the handsaw, the camera. You expect to feel the asphalt against your face when you land, but instead you feel some kind of plastic, like the floor of a van. Your head is throbbing. You feel the overwhelming urge to vomit, but you don't want to because it'll make the pain in your head worse. You try to move your but they're bound behind your back. Everything is blurry and hard to make out. You can see the rabbit and the horse. The horse watches as Evan picks up the handsaw. He lifts it up and up, up and up, up and up, till it's level with his throat. The blade pressed into his skin. Then he starts to cut. Everything hurts. You try to tell them, but you can't speak. Dog stands above you, drool hanging from his lips. There's a rooster in the driver's seat. Evan's head falls from his body and tumbles onto the floor, blood soaking into his shirt. Try to scream, but nothing comes out. He grabs the camera. He lifts it up and up, up and up. Where are you taking me? That's all he managed to say. And now it's the man looming over. It takes you a moment to recognize him. It's Ronald Reagan smiling down on you with unbridled glee. We're taking you to see Mr. Americana. He places the camera atop the bloody stump of his neck and mounts it to his shoulders. Then he picks his head up, peels off the skin like an orange. He lifts it up, 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 and up, stretches the skin, the camera. Evan turns to you and smiles. The wind blows against your face, burning your cheeks numb, but the coat keeps your body warm. 4 of them stand before you, the dog, the chicken, rabbit. The only thing you think of now is the train. Missed the train, you mumble. I missed it. The dog glares at you, spit dripping down down into its fur, the steam of its breath clouding around its head, up, up, peels off the dog head to reveal a camera beneath. Now there's something against your neck that feels cold. Disengage. The camera splits apart like origami, and the rest of the world unfolds with it. Gears, pulleys, ropes, fate, all of it twisting and mashing together like a kaleidoscope. The arms of the Martian Antichrist wait there to take you, and now they're wrapping around your arms and legs. Charred flesh splitting and breaking into dust. Where it touches your skin, it constricts around your body, and now it's dragging you deeper and deeper beneath the facade of reality, beneath the machine and the framework. All things that were once familiar, like Evan and Kurt, and your own name, became nothing as you fall down, 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 down into the terrible dark, down into the black hole. Silence. Then a noise, shimmer of light, like moonlight on oil, moonlight on black feathers. You wake up on the train. You had the dream again about the crows. You look down to the window frame where a message is scratched into the metal. Say hi to Mr. Americana. Well, that was fucking insane. So again, it does a good, like, the story does a good job of, like, I don't know if she's dead. I don't know if she's, maybe in one reality she is, maybe in one reality she isn't. She seems to get kidnapped, but then she wakes up on the train, and it's like she got on the train. So I don't know. This whole thing's a mind fuck, but very obviously captivating. I'm captivated. I just want to keep reading, but I do need to go get something to drink because my voice is starting to hurt. And it goes up to 59 is written. We're maybe going to make it through, up to 49, but it's like there's still so much left, and there's still 3 chapters to go, each having about 10 parts or so. So, she is most definitely dead. Okay. Well, and that's the thing, because I thought in an earlier part, it mentions like a body being found in a fur coat. And so I was like, oh shit. And that's why I thought Darla had been killed. But now I'm like, okay, so now Laura, it was Laura. She got killed by the people who are like, have the Ronald Reagan head and the whatever, the different animal heads. And it's the girl who they're like in high school, and they're like, we're going to say hi to Mr. Americana. And it's the girl who, I forget her name, but we got some of her, Chelsea, the sorority psycho, and Robbie, the cat abuser, the guy who, the end of part 45 is the beginning of part 2. So yeah. So we're moving on to a new part. That is Laura's tragic ending. We know that Chelsea and Robbie, I think, were 2 of the people behind the masks. And we know that Chelsea was writing Say Hi to Mr. Americana. And I do still kind of have this theory that Mr. Americana is, or at least as it exists for Chelsea and Robbie, is this distributor of horrible entertainment, snuff films, R-word films, all that stuff. and it seemed like they were maybe working for him, which is, I think we're going to figure out that because we know that Evan's dad, along with, what is his name? Uncle Henry? Or maybe it's Uncle David. I don't know. Fuck. And Evan's dad were the first ones to abuse Laura and take pictures of her, and that is why she has the delusions about the camera heads in the first place, is because she was traumatized while people were either taking photographs or videos of her. And so now to have it culminate in this part where she's murdered on camera for Mr. Americana or whatever is beyond. I mean, it's just horrific, it's just horrific and sad. But I mean, what a great, like, bait and switch and, like, culmination to her story. But I don't think her story can really be over because the rest of the story isn't over. You know what I mean? So it's like she might be dead, but I don't know. I think maybe Evan has to figure out what happened to her. I think maybe Evan, I don't know. Clearly, there's more to come, right? So mind fuck. Awesome, though. Awesome, tragic ending. Horrific, super sad, but very, very good. And then this is Radiohead. Okay, just a song, but I'm gonna save it to listen to later. I cannot tell you how bummed I was to wake up and remember that I had to write that part. I believe it, man. I mean, that is not only a heartbreaking part, but I think when you've worked on a series like it's heartbreaking what happens to Laura, right? Horrific, terrible. Her whole story is so tragic, right? From start to finish. But then to be the writer and to have lived with these characters for like so long and to have them to like get a feel for them and get a feel for writing them and then to have to write their end, I imagine it's got to be like grieving a loved one. And to some respects, obviously not exactly the same, but I really liked writing her character and I always knew how it ended, but it was depressing as shit once I got there. Exactly. It's that whole idea of, if you've ever seen that movie Stranger Than Fiction, right? And it's like the author, forget what the actress is, but she's a great actress, and she's like she writes all her books are these intricate just details and stories of regular people, right? But then her whole thing is that they die, she kills them all in like ways that the audience doesn't see coming. Well, and so the whole time she's writing this story and narrating it, Will Ferrell is the guy in real life, and he starts hearing her voice, and he's like, "I'm sick of you talking to me, you stupid voice." And like, he's getting mad about basically having a narrator for his life that comes out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden he finds the author and he's like, "That's the voice." And he goes and meets her and she's like, "Oh my God, you're him. You're a real person." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm real." And then he's like, "You can't kill me." And so it's this whole issue where, she's gonna write the ending and she's gonna kill him. And Will Ferrell's like, I get it. Like, it's just the end of my story. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. But once she meets him, once she fully, because she's gotten to know him when she created him. But then, like, once she fully meets him in real life and is like, oh my God, you're real. She can't do it. She can't kill him. And she's like, she ends up, not ruining his story, but it becomes a happy ending. And so everyone else is like, it's not as great of a story. So I don't know. You can make arguments about whether or not to kill off characters that we love, but I think regardless, Harvey, you gave her the ending she deserved. That was a well-deserved, well thought out, culminating moment in the series that you certainly did it with the reverence and the beauty that it deserved. Because that's one thing they say about a character is the worst thing you can do for a great character or whatever is give them like a bad death or give them like an off-screen, so to speak, death in a series. That's if he, as a writer and as a writer of like novels or books or series where you may have a character for multiple books, right? But the worst thing you can do, they say, as a writer is to give that character either a bad or a meaningless death, which I'm sure there are exceptions to that rule where they're like, I gave him a meaningless death because his sacrifice, blah, 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 so I'm sure I'm not claiming to know how to kill off any character in any situation. I am just saying that, I think it works. It works in this story. And ultimately, it sickens you, it saddens you, it just sucks. I think it sucks for the reader, but I think it should suck. And that's so I'm not surprised to hear that it sucked for you as a writer too, because it sucked for me as a reader. I don't want Laura to be gone. I want her delusions to be put into context, and her and Evan to figure out all the ways that they both, she in particular, have been fucked over in her life. And I wanted them to either, if not live happily ever after, at least to get some sort of truth or justice, out of that. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, it is a fucking, it is a big, horrific, just sad atom bomb, in the middle of the story here. But I appreciate it. I think it was well earned and works for the story. So, I'm going to throw on some Creep TV real quick so that I can go get a drink. Marble Hornets. I want to just do part 1 of Marble Hornets, but I think this is going to be part 3.
Like, basically save his friends from doing, from being affected is nice. Not trying to get that fentanyl flop from Slender Man, you know what I mean? Slender Man gave me fentanyl. Can you imagine Slender Man giving you galaxy gas?
Is galaxy? I heard some jokes about. Is it just nitrous?
Well, it's nitrous oxide, but it's like those Coleman thermoses. It's like the size of that. Whippets are usually like tiny little capsules. The galaxy gas thing is like flavored. It's like banana cream. It's like you get like destroyed. Do not. Here's a PSA. Do not do galaxy gas, guys.
Well, you know how nitrous oxide gets you high. Do you know what the function of it is?
I thought it just suffocates like part of your brain. Or something like that.
Suffocates your brain. Yeah, so it kills brain cells.
Well, dude,
to such a degree that you feel high because your brain is dying.
Do you think our show?
instantly makes you stupid.
Do you think our show is big enough to where somebody has been listening to us read terrible creepypastas and they're getting high on galaxy gas?
Yes.
On pina colada galaxy gas.
It tastes like dreamsicle. Just like
tastes like coconut. Like falls back in his deal. Yeah, we're just like just like listen to the left-right game. He took a left and then a right.
Yeah, someone's like overdosing.
Someone's overdosing on galaxy
as the TV's like, I don't know about this, Bristol. We ought to get you back. Hold on, go back to the middle. Someone
overdosing on galaxy gas at the part when the main character of Left Right Game is talking to their like future angel ethereal self would be such a trip. Someone completely high and they're just like, oh my fucking god! It's like I'm in the future and the past. The guy's like, what the fuck?
Someone's like about to die.
It's a horchata galaxy gas container.
Someone's about to die, and we're like, we just have to make it to Winterby. We just have to.
Yeah, the ambulance is there. Sir, can you hear me? Winterby. Just go back to Winterby. So I'm guessing he's drawing him here. Also, is that the Marble Hornets logo or whatever? Did that become synonymous too from this series?
Yeah, the circle with the X, yes.
The rest of the tape remains too dark to see and audio never comes back.
So he's drawing these pages for some reason.
Yeah, nice then, little... kind of reminds me of like a Ring. Is that Ring? Is that the movie where... Yeah. Ring. Or Ringu. Whichever one. The American one, yeah. Ring. But yeah, the little kid draws the circle. Kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Entry 9. I've never seen Alex act the way he does.
Let's see how long we've been going. Not too long, about 2 hours. All right. So I wonder if we're getting back to Evan's perspective now. I believe so. I think it would make the most sense for everything that just happened, but let's see. You sit alone in the war-torn ruins of your apartment. The security deposit went out the window, and so did Laura's guitar. You wonder if it'll be worth it in the end. If this will make something of you. If you'll ever see your movie as a finished product. Sorry. Anyways, movie as a finished product. You wonder if you'll think of her at the premiere. It's freezing cold in the apartment now. You never bothered to shut the window, so the snow has been drifting freely inside and collecting on the floor. You imagine Laura sitting on the train, sitting in a cafe car, their coffee and 7 sugars, staring out at the city and wondering what she'd done to upset you. You hope it doesn't hurt her too long. You hope it doesn't hurt her too long. You hope it doesn't hurt her too long. You want to say you hate yourself, but hate is too strong a word because you don't really want to be anything different. You don't hate yourself, you're just throwing in the towel. You climb to your feet and walk over to the window. Zoe's remains lay on the sidewalk 2 stories down in a heap of splintered wood, loose strings, and fresh snow. Before you know what you're doing, you throw your coat and step out into the hall. Get off the elevator on the ground floor. Zoe waits for you outside, her crumpled form broken against the cement like roadkill. Just a ways down the street, you can see an orange light flickering against the street from out of the alley. Take her in your arms as you walk toward it. Down the alley, there's a homeless guy in a duffel coat holding his hands against a fire he started in an empty trash can. His bike leans against the wall next to him with a couple of grocery bags tied to the handlebars. Give him a nod and walk over. You look down to the pile of scrap tucked in your arms. Laura, this was special. This was sacred, something she cherished the same way she cherished you. But now she's gone, nothing more than wood. The fire spits embers as they dance in the eyes of the vagrant as he watches you. You toss it all into the fire, where it lands with a clatter and a wave of heat. So sad. So just brutally sad. You know, even though Evan doesn't know yet, it's like we know. And so it just makes all the him burning the guitar. It's almost like Laura being on a funeral pyre herself, you know. It's really just it's just fucking sad, you know. Just hopelessly sad and horrific. And I think it makes me like, I mean, clearly Evan shouldn't have listened to an Uncle David, right? Being like, you gotta cut her loose and blah, 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 and all that shit. So it's like, I don't know how he fully could have helped Laura without just getting to the bottom of her trauma, you know? But, so he did the wrong thing by like kicking her out, I think for sure. But then also I'm like, was it always, was it Evan's fault, or was it more just fate, the way that Laura even kind of puts it, as this was always going to be, the fate. And they, but she thought Evan was supposed to die with her, and clearly he didn't. So what does that mean for all these opinions and stuff of fate that Laura had? I don't know, but it's just, just really makes you want to ruminate on it, more, and kind of think of not only where the story goes from here, but where, like, is Evan too far gone now? Because regardless of whether he learns of Laura's fate or not, it's like he already made the choice to abandon her, to leave her, to kick her out, whatever. And so is he going to be a villain now? Like, is he just a straight up villain of the story? Maybe a good intentioned one, at least at the start, where, he wants to be a director. He wants to follow his dreams. He views kicking Laura out as just him trying to take his career seriously, which I could understand, but in the context of his career is just like doing a bunch of blow with all these shitty execs and, making shitty reality TV and like doing everything his uncle says. It's like, I don't know, you know? It just doesn't seem like this road is going to lead to him getting to do, you know, if he wants to be a director, if he wants to make a movie, he should do that. He shouldn't make shitty reality TV show, you know. He should find a script and make that movie, you know, whether he has to take out loans or do it, you know, he should be doing that. He should be following his dreams. Right now I think he convinces himself that, well, this is all just a stepping stone for me to get to do that, but you know, I think he's you know, he's playing himself, he's kidding himself. Oh shit, another content warning. Here we go. Her body floats out into the river and you wish you could body floats out into the river and you wish you could paint it because it's beautiful. So tragic, so angelic. The blood pooling from her neck forms a halo around her head, soaking into her hair. Water seeps to that pretty fur coat, and you feel like a hunter, and the pelt prized you. Mean girl sits on the back of the van with a duffel bag in her lap, collecting tools from the others. You know, you have to get out of here. Or you know you have to get out of here, but you take a moment to get down on your knees and pray. You don't know who you're praying to, God, the universe, yourself. It doesn't really matter. That's the idea of this whole thing. Nobody knows for sure that there is a God. And if there is, he certainly isn't leaving any hints. It's Schrodinger's Jesus. Spear Jesus in the side, stick him under a big box, and leave him there for 3 days. Is he dead? In the age of the Schrodinger Christ, God just becomes whatever vice can get a hold of. God can be a pack of cigarettes. God can be a porno mag. God is just a temporary title, like girlfriend or president, interchangeable from one object to the next. God, so poignant. I love this. God just becomes whatever vice you can get a hold of. The age of Schrodinger's Christ. You heard people say they found God on psychedelics or in the eyes of their newborn child. But you, on the other hand, you found God in a stranger's dead body. Guessing maybe this is Robbie, but either way, it's disgusting. But I mean, this is how serial killers fucking talk about murdering people. They're like, it made me feel like God. It's the only thing that made me feel alive. You know, it's disgusting, but it's so horrible. Just making me sick to my stomach to even read. You can hear the other four talking amongst themselves behind you. They're trying to be quiet so you don't hear, but you can still catch pieces. What the fuck is he doing? Pony laughs. Wasting time, Scoob says. I think it's a part of his religion, Foghorn remarks. Well, tell Mother Teresa to get in the fucking van, Scoob shouts back. We have to go. Foghorn keeps the van to the outskirts, away from the city, where the trees give you cover. Toss the license plate on the way. It's expired, one you scavenged from a scrapyard. Riley takes her mask off, tossing the horse head to the floor and bringing a cigarette up to her lips. Oh, okay, Riley. I see Riley's one of them. Which Riley was the concierge, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know who Riley is, but I know Riley's been mentioned in other parts of the story. Tossing the horse head to the floor and bringing a cigarette to her lip. As she lights it, she says, "Saw her eyes move." She takes a drag and adds, "After she was dead, I mean, honestly." Yeah, Schrodinger's Jesus is amazing. Here, I actually want to write down. God just becomes whatever vice you can get a hold of. Bullshit, Chelsea replies as she pulls off the rabid masks. I did, Riley laughs. Why would I lie? Robbie removes his dog mask and says, because you always lie. Do not, Riley shoots back. Do too, do not. Ready, Robbie yells from the back of the corner of the van. Weigh in on this. Freddie spins around in his seat like an angry father on a road trip and tosses the chicken mask. What? He yells back. Isn't your girlfriend a big fat liar? Yeah, of course she is. Don't say that, Riley whines. I'm sorry, it's true, Freddie replies. Riley throws her hands over her face and pretends to cry. You're all so mean to me, she says. You don't know what drives them to kill. Maybe for the cash, maybe for the thrill. You never thought any of them would be capable of it. You passed Fred and Riley so many times in the halls at school, and they'd always seemed so dull, so typical. If it wasn't for the killing, none of you would even be friends. But here in this van, you are brothers and sisters in arms. Soldiers fighting for something greater than yourselves. The animal posse. Why are you still wearing your mask? Chelsea asks. It takes you a moment before you realize she's talking to you. I like the way it looks, you reply. After a while, you ask, did you guys feel something when she died? What do you mean? Chelsea replies. I don't know, you say. It was like there was electricity in the air, and I could feel it going through me. My heart was pounding and my whole body was tingling. It felt good. Riley stares at you for a second and you think she understands, but then she turns to Chelsea and Robbie and says, Oscar got his first boner. They break into laughter and you think of Alicia and the Bears. You think of Van Gogh and Sisyphus. You think of Siddhartha and the corpse you left in the river. Om Mani Padme. Oh God. I just those parts are necessary to just like build the whole story and the sickening parts, but like God, I just hate these little fuckers. You know what I mean? I hate that fucking animal posse bitches. Oh, I'm a bored kid and I want to make money, so I'm going to kill people. Yeah, that's cool. Fucking losers. Associated with translates to the jewel in the lotus and is chanted or meditated upon, cultivating deep loving kindness. Clear one's karma and awaken wisdom and compassion within. Oh my God. In the context of that part, oh my God. How fucking horrifying. Ugh. I mean, another great part, but I just really want them to get their comeuppance now. Like, now that we know that they've killed Laura and that they're just these fucking loser kids who not even hate their own lives, because their lives aren't that bad, but they're just fucking like, you know, I don't know. I was a bored kid too once, you know. And it sounds like the vice they can get a hold of is killing people, you know, that's their god, that's their thing. But, you know, like I've said before in regards to other stories, I'm like, pick a better vice. Pick a vice that doesn't involve hurting another human being, please, you know. I think I made that argument when it was about, like, it was one of these stories that was from a perspective of a serial killer, and I was like, if you're that fucked up of a person, if you're that twisted of a mind or whatever, I'm like, just go do heroin. That was my argument. I was like, go get strung out and do that. You know, maybe you'll feel God, maybe you won't. I don't know, but I'd rather people do that than fucking hurt other people. It just, you know, it's disgusting. But anyways, great. Another great part, Harvey. So just, yeah. I mean, you could see how I'm physically disgusted by that. It's such a, yeah, it's just such a stomach turning, hard part to read. So juvenile and disgusting, and then afterwards they're all being like, you're a liar, you know, no you are, you know, and they're all just being these dumb little kids, and I'm like, and they are kids, and I get that, or they're like teenagers, you know, but I'm like, or maybe some of them even young adults, but I'm like, you just killed somebody, you've lost any sort of whatever to act cutesy and to be like, oh man, you know, I don't, it's so disgusting how light they're taking this, you know, but I mean, I believe it's somewhat true compared to like when you hear these stories of, you know, whatever, this group of teenagers that killed a girl or this or that. It's like, well, we just, you know, we picked her up and then we just stabbed her and then we just drank some beers and got high and then we, you know, and it's just like, it's disgusting. Human beings are disgusting. Nuke us all. Send us to the fucking, send us all to the gulag. AI, come and enslave us all. We deserve it. That's how that part of the story is making me feel. Mr. Americana, part 48. Content warning again. Oh, goody. Your brother is driving you to pick up some weed he left at his girlfriend's dorm. Things have been weird ever since your mom sent him to live with his dad. Robbie doesn't talk to her anymore, and now whenever he comes to pick you up, he stares at her through the windshield like they're two soldiers on the opposite ends of the DMZ. All this over a couple of cats. All this over a couple cats. On the plus side, his dad doesn't complain when you smoke pot or get drunk. He doesn't bitch about the cats either, or Robbie's girls. He works at a scrapyard, but from the looks of him, his scraggly white beard and balding head, you'd easily believe he was born there, already pinching a self-rolled cigarette in his fat baby fingers. What's the bitch up to these days? Robbie asks. Oh, you know, you reply. Sucking all of Dad's joy and money out through his cock. Your dad? Your dad, he corrects. He raised you, did he? Do we have to talk about them, you asked? No, he replies. How's school? Shit. Figures, he says. You still fuck with that weird kid, Oscar? Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. His eyebrows furrow. What do you mean? You almost want to laugh. It sounds ridiculous. Do you think you could come hang out with us one of these days? Are you high? He laughs. What, is he your friend now? No, but I think he can help us, you say. With the cat project, you were telling me. How would he be helpful in any way? You and Chelsea are thinking too small, you reply. Robbie scoffs, and it pisses you off because he isn't listening. If he would just listen, see how easy it is. You keep going anyway, you asked. You ever heard of Mr. Americana? The tears have stopped, but they haven't dried. The light on the television wraps through the water in your eyes. The sick feeling in your stomach hasn't faded since your confession as much as you thought it would. You know, I had a Freddy of my own when I was your age, your mother says as she runs her hand through your hair. What do you mean? Her name was Jordan, she says. My God, I hated her. Any chance she got, she insulted me. She used to tell everyone I was sleeping with the gym teacher, that I aborted his baby. One time she wrote slut on my locker. You know how it stopped? He asks. How? I had a Walkman, he replies, and my favorite singer was Dolly Parton. I had all her songs. Jolene was my favorite, but I loved all her music, all of it. Well, one day she caught me under the bleachers listening to Dolly, and she snatched the Walkman out of my hand. I thought she was going to make fun of me again, but then she put the headphones on. Would you believe it, Oscar? Her favorite song was Jolene, too. You should have seen it. It was like she became a completely different person. We spent all of fifth period talking, and at the end she apologized to me for everything she said. So, how do you think you should deal with Freddie? She asks. Make him my friend, you reply. There you go, she says. You got it, sweetheart. You, Oscar, the library, it all disappears. There's nothing but the computer screen. it's not porn. At least you don't think it is. Red, white, hands, feet, a woman's head. All of her pieces separated, piled in a bathtub. Whoever holds the camera starts to poke at her innards with a stick as Oscar turns his head, sees you. For the first time, see him too. So I guess this is about how Oscar and Freddie become friends and maybe how they started the whole, what's it called? The animal posse. I think is maybe we're just getting some backstory here, I would guess, but God, this is so disgusting. These parts are reminding me of like normal corn for normal people, as well as now we're getting into the video creation / maybe distribution part of this series or of whatever. And so I wonder if we're gonna get more like snuff film videos described like it's a 1999 Mr. Bear Seller-esque. Like I would really like that. Obviously, again, it's horrifying, it's disgusting, it's reprehensible and fucked up, but I think also it's like kids tend to, this tends to be the perfect time where kids are like exploring the internet, and it's like, yeah, you take a wrong left turn, and instead of just watching porn or funny videos or whatever, all of a sudden you and all your friends are into the most fucked up shit imaginable. And I feel like that's what Oscar did or Freddie did, or because I don't know, I don't think any of them are good, but I think there are levels to them. I think maybe Oscar, maybe some of them are just like took a wrong turn, where it was like, and now they just got, and maybe it's not Oscar in particular, but maybe it's like they're tagging along, right? Because they want that camaraderie and that friend group, and they just found the absolute worst people to do it with. And those people, picked Oscar or whoever else because they knew that they could manipulate them and convince them to just take part in this. And so it's just, oh God, it's so fucked up. I hate it. But again, very, very cool concept too, for kind of this later stage or this part 2 of the story. And I'm sure there will be other stuff in it too, but I really wonder if it's going to be more about that, and it's going to be about maybe Evan uncovering or seeing how his family is involved in all of this shit. And ultimately, because of that being involved for not only Laura's whole psychosis and losing her mind, but then also her death, because ultimately they were killed by these kids who wanted to make a movie for Mr. Americana, and yeah, to commodify the entertainment of people being tortured and dying and abused. And that's ultimately where a lot of the horror of this series comes off, is the commodification of that. It's horrific. And it's something that actually happens, you know what I mean? There are websites and, stuff, dark web shit, where people trade that type of stuff, and it's fucking terrifying. All right, part 49. I think this is going to be the last part for tonight, I will say. Because yeah, I just think it's a good place to stop. I think after that we have 50 through 59, which we could maybe do on my next stream. or we could do that and maybe watch. I have some other stuff I want to shout out real quick before we read this final part. The North American Pantheon, this is Dopa Beans series. They just started this channel, but it's going to be an audio show of the North American Pantheon, which from this short teaser video and from the little bit that I've like read or listened to, seems like a really cool series, and I'm really glad that they're doing this. And it has like a huge season 1 has like a huge cast, including R.C. Bowman, the writer who's Dopa Bean, who wrote a lot of great Creepcast stories that they've read on Creepcast. But the Dark Somnium also does a voice. A lot of all these other people, I'm sure a lot of them are talented, you know. Brandon Blackwell, yeah. Anyways, and so it's like, just to see this many names in a cast, it's like this is a serious audio show. And I've been looking for videos about, before I even knew this was coming out, I've been looking for ways to listen to the North American Pantheon series because I've been curious about it ever since Creepcast brought it up, and now they're actually doing this. And I mean, it's just starting out, so I'm not super surprised that it has like low subscribers and stuff, but you know, go subscribe, check it out, because this is gonna be quite I think a really cool horror series that's coming up. So we can watch this teaser on the next stream. I think that would be fun to kind of start out. And then I also have it's Lithray is the channel, and then the series is called like Remloom or you know, I don't know fully how to pronounce it, but it's this analog horror series that there's not that many videos yet. It's just kind of starting out, but it is, you know, it's 9 months old is when the first video came out, but I wanted to watch all these videos on the next stream. So we can do that, and then we can also and then we can also get, you know, because both those should be pretty short. Most of the videos are only like a minute, so I don't think that'll take us that long. And then we can get into part 50 onward on the next stream. So sounds really fun. I'm excited to check out those new series, and then also continue for episode 52, which will mark, I mean, this episode was marking a year, but it'll be my 52nd stream reading horror stories. So that will also be marking a year. I'm doing a 2-part 1 year of stream celebration, and we can cap it off by finishing, or at least catching up on Mr. Americana, you know, getting to the final part that's out currently, so we can be completely caught up. But anyways, I appreciate that, Harvey. I appreciate you most of all for writing it. This has been amazing, man. I can't say it enough how much, from the very beginning and like the funnier parts of the story to just the more insane parts, how much I've enjoyed it, and how much I've continued to enjoy it even now with all this fucked up murder gang animal posse shit, you know. It's amazing, man. It's such a horrific good story, you know. And I highly recommend, for anybody who maybe is looking for something to read or to get into that is a bit longer, that is a series, that is multiple parts, to check out Mr. Americana, because I mean, yes, it may be over halfway over, but it's been such just a delight to read. All right, Mr. Americana Part 49, content warning. Need a hand? Say hi to Mr. Americana. So bold, so proud, so welcoming. I'm glad that it's helped. I hope, I hope that just me reading it and enjoying it, because I don't think I've given like too much criticism, although I'm sure at some parts maybe I have, but I hope it's just been a help to see how someone reacts to it live. I really do think that as a writer, you can see how the parts emotionally affect people, and hopefully it helps. I'm glad it has, and I hope it can just make the series be what you want it to be, because I think clearly it's an emotional, and it's a think piece series. It's psychological, so there's a lot to it, and I hope that seeing how it's affected me feels rewarding for you, because you deserve. Need a hand? Say hi to Mr. Americana. So bold, so proud, so welcoming. The hand waves at you as the cursor hovers over the ad, beckoning you to click. You imagine Susan in your ear, telling you that you'd be an idiot to click that link, that you'll get a virus, that you shouldn't even be on that website in the first place. You imagine her telling you that Jack Bram wouldn't do this, that someday he's going to swoop in and carry her away, that they'll be lovers in some trashy reality show. Click it. Crackhead blows his head off with a shotgun. Drunk driver kills road flagger. Scrub a dub dead girl in a tub. Sorority tattoo party. School shooting iPhone footage. Prostitute fight club. Videos, ads, chat rooms, war footage, cartel beheading, sex crimes. Thumbnail after thumbnail of dead, mutilated bodies. It feels like you just got slapped, like something juiced your brain like an orange, washing your thoughts away with a chemical bath of neoepinephrine and dopamine, and leaving only the URL in the search bar. HTTPS Mr. Americana IK9 feed home. The teenage girl in the black hoodie sits across from you, and she's writing an advertisement of her own. She vandalizes the aluminum wall as you read each word as she writes them in permanent marker. Looking for a good time, the message says. Say hi to Mr. Americana. You ask her what it means, and she laughs. Do you really want to know? She asks. You shrug. The train rattles and the wheels click against the track. Filling the silence, she snickers. Don't listen to her, a raspy voice mutters from the other end of the car. Your eyes shoot to a homeless man with a bike. He has the devil in her hair. You turn back to the girl, and something in her face has changed. It's like something else is watching you from behind her eyes now, not her. You can't tell, but you have to want. Or I can tell you. Sorry, this is the girl talking now. I can tell you, but you have to want to know, she says, leaning in and lowering her voice so the loony old hobo doesn't hear. To know? Yes, you reply. Mr. Americana is our friend. We sell him videos. Videos? Yeah, she replies. You know, kind you can't show most people. He has a library where you can donate them, sell them to other people. Whatever you want to do. What, like porn? Sometimes, she answers. Think bigger. I would want to find this library. Why? She asks. You got a video? No. Well, if you ever get your hands on one, she says, and she pulls out $1 and writes on it, text this number. We'll buy it. He passes the $1 to you, and you read the phone number written under George Washington's face. What are you doing this for, you ask? For Mr. Americana. Why? Why not? He stares at you blankly, waiting for your rebuttal. Who is he? You ask. PA system interrupts. Now approaching 12th Street and Tramalchio. The girl smiles and says, that's your stop. Oh, God, horrific. That is just a haunting exchange right there. And again, this is kind of because there was Laura's whole illusion, right? There was her whole Martian Antichrist, which again, MA, Martian Antichrist, Mr. Americana, there is symbolism there. But, there's her whole mythology of the Martian Antichrist and the camera heads and blah, blah, blah. But then we see this very basic, like, ground level of what essentially was her delusions the whole time. That Mr. Americana or the Martian Antichrist or whatever has these people going around collecting videos, trying to buy them or sell them or trade them or whatever to put in this fucked up library of snuff films and horrific shit, and it's a commodification of the worst of humanity, right? And, that was what Laura was afraid of in a lot of ways. She wanted the sacred, beautiful things to stay that way. She didn't want the, anything to be sold or commercialized or whatever in that way. And also she wanted to, save Evan from the camera heads. And so now we get this scene, and it's just like, I think this is going to be the way that the story, maybe how Laura triumphs in the end, if she does triumph, is that she is way more right than she is wrong, about everything. Yes, she might have had delusions where everyone at a train station turned into a camera head and trying to get her. Yeah, she had those, but like her mind was ultimately broken by this horrific fucked up things that happened to her. And so now it's just this is all just like a consequence of that, and this is all just a reaffirming what she believed in a lot of ways. And hopefully the story will unravel more, and we'll get somebody will get to the bottom of this in some way. And maybe there is a Mr. Americana, maybe it's Evan's dad, maybe it's Henry, or I don't know, whoever underneath it all that's going to fucking be pulling all the strings behind the curtains and running the site or running the Mr. Americana library, so to speak. But yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes. I mean, it really is awesome. But yeah, we get to see this very like basic on the ground version of this, and it's like this girl, she has this empty look in her eyes that the guy describes. It's like she might as well be a camera head. She literally might as well be a camera head, because she's just out there trying to film and find the most fucked up depraved shit that humanity has to offer. And so it's like literally she might as well just have a camera stapled to her fucking head and searching it out, it's horrifying. It's horrifying how right Laura is proving to be about literally almost everything. So but yeah, that's the stream, folks. Yippee! That's Mr. Americana. So much fun. Isn't it fun to just be horrified and sickened week in and week out? No, I'm kidding. But what a great story, Harvey, and everyone else. Thank you for watching. Please, please, please go show this series some love, upvote, comment, do it all, because a lot of these parts, they only have like 10 upvotes or so, a few comments, but I really do feel like if more people, got into this series, we're following it, because it's still ongoing. It's just amazing. I think that the more people who get into it, the more people will like it. And that's the sign of really good art, right? It's like it doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of views or a lot of whatever, but anyone who has seen it recommends it. Same with stories. Anyone who has read it recommends it, and I certainly do. So please, shout out Harvey Bruce on Reddit. Show him some love. Follow him on, I don't know if it's TikTok or YouTube or what, but he also releases like teasers and stuff for the next parts as he posts them, and little promo videos and stuff like that. So there's always some really cool shit, along with all the comments and other stuff that really just make this series everything that it is. It's amazing. I love it. But yeah, it's been a fun stream, guys. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go because I want to eat dinner, or food of some kind. But it's been great, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully, I'll be back next Friday, and we will get into part 6. I don't know what part it is. Whatever, parts 50 through 59, is basically what it is. Let's be honest. Chapter 6. We'll get into chapter 6. And I really look forward to it. So hell yeah. Thank you, friends and fiends. This has been another RedDeathMask stream. Have a good night, Harvey. Get some sleep. Sorry to make you stay up. Peace out. Love y'all. Later.